What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 6 of Season 7 of the PPL, and this week we are up against Carnie Hobo and his Vancouver Stealth Rocks. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. But anyway, on to the team. Like I said, we are up against Carnie, and this is actually the first time I've faced him in a real league. I've mocked him a couple of times, and he's obviously very well known around the community, as Draft Frontier is kind of his baby, as it were. So yeah, very well known player, good friend of mine, been looking forward to playing him for a while. But that being said, he has a very, very scary team, albeit quite top-heavy. So his team is Mega Alakazam, Kyurem Black, Jirachi, Togekiss, Terrakion, Milotic, Umbreon, Volbeat, Electrode, Jumpluff, and Cradily, with Kyurem Black, Electrode, and Jumpluff being his Z-Mons. Now, obviously, like I said, his first couple Mons, like the first 5 Mons on his team, I mean, his team's very, very top-heavy. Like, Mega Alakazam, Kyurem Black, Terrakion, and Jirachi are all big threats in and of themselves and very, very solid. But then the rest of his team, it was just kind of like, alright, he spent all his budget on the top half of his draft and then just kind of filled in from there. And then also the fact that he has a Jumpluff and a Cradily, which of course Carnie has multiple grass types, and of course he has a Cradily. But that does not take anything away from the fact that, in particular, Megazam Cube and Terrakion are insane threats to me that I am definitely going to have to work around in one way or another. That being said, I noticed that, first of all, he does not have a ground type, so Zapdos can just spam Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, whatever electric move I decide to go for. I have the speed control on him. Granted, he does have Mega Zam, but also, I mean, I kind of have not only a stop, but like a complete counter to Mega Zam, barring a very cool set that Jolt brought up that we were joking about. But either way, I mean, Alolan Mux stops Mega Alakazam hard. Kyurem is deterred, or it's kind of hurt by the fact that I have speed advantage on it with my Garchomp and my Mega Gallade, and I also have Scizor, who kind of sort of obliterates it. Same thing with Terrakion, and also even like basically Choice Band Scizor just destroys Mega Alakazam, Kyurem Black, and Terrakion. So yeah, I'm not overly worried about any of them sweeping me. It's just a matter of, okay, what do I switch in at the current time? But yeah, I mean, really, I'm just going to kind of take the fact that Scizor is more than likely going to be cleaning up or revenge killing quite a bit. Mega Gallade will be breaking and run with it. As for the team that I'm bringing, the first Mon is going to be Mega Gallade, and surprise, surprise, it is a sub 3 attack set. That is my favorite Mega Gallade set. I mean, I've noticed that with Mega Gallade, everybody has that one set that they like more than others, and I know that in general with Mons, some people are like, oh, I prefer this set on so-and-so, but Mega Gallade more so is a Mon where, like, I could easily run SD. Like, if I preferred SD on Mega Gallade, I could run that in this game. If I preferred Bulk Up, I could run that. But I just like sub 3 attacks a lot more, so I don't have to predict. And especially in this game, Gallade forces out things like Terrakion, Kyurem Black, Jirachi if it's low, stuff like that. So I will be able to get up a sub and then not have to predict with knockoff, poison jab, or close combat. The speed is enough to guarantee to outspeed Terrakion, threw the rest into attack, and maxed out my EVs. Next up, we have a Zapdos with both Volt Switch and Thunderbolt because, like I said, he does not have a ground type on his team. And Zapdos, with the set that I'm running, really can't run anything to hit Kyurem that particularly hard anyway, so I might as well just get momentum off of it with Volt Switch, and then I also have Roost and Toxic, just because, I mean, it's good for his team. Now, Zapdos is kind of my prevent Jirachi from trying to Iron Head flinch my entire team down, and also it's my initial Terrakion switch-in because, yeah, I really just don't have any switch-ins to Terrakion on my team, so Zapdos with the Charty Berry and the defense is kind of like, okay, well, let's see what type of Terrakion it is, and then I can deal with it from there. The double electric is because he does not have a ground type, like I said, so I can decide whether I want to hit a little bit harder with Thunderbolt, which against the Milotic, I don't want to Volt Switch out because then he can just recover back up, so I can stay in with T-Bolt and hit that thing a little bit harder. And yeah, Volt Switch is for momentum if I think he's going to go Kyurem or he's just going to switch out in general. And then Toxic is for like the Cradilly or, yeah, just basically Toxic is something that I can fire off, particularly to wear down the Togekiss, although Thunderbolt does that nicely, or Kyurem if I'm in a situation where I don't want to click Volt Switch. But really, Toxic is just kind of there. I could have gone for Defog, but I decided that, you know what, if he tries to bring, like, Stockpile Cradilly, like, I think my matchup is so amazing that he'll have to bring some weird stuff. So Toxic is just kind of a way of being like, okay, one of your random low-tier setup threats is not going to beat me. The speed is just enough for a generic creep, and then I maxed out HP and my defense. Next up is a Choice-Banded Scizor. Like I said, this thing absolutely goes in on him. All I need is dual stab in this matchup. Like, I legitimately do not need anything else, as Bullet Punch takes care of his 3 biggest threats super easily. I have enough, like, with U-Turn, I'm able to get momentum on things like Umbreon, my low tick, hit Cradilly super effectively, like, just hits his team insanely hard, to where, yeah, Scizor just basically prevents his top-tier threats from scaring me all too much. And then with just U-Turn and Bullet Punch, like I said, I get momentum, I have priority, Defog is on there, I don't know, just in case he tries to, like, the hazards just get like a little bit too annoying or something like that. Really, all I need is just Bullet Punch and U-Turn. Like, those are the only 2 moves that I need on Scizor, so the others were just kind of filler. Like, Defog, like I said, is in case I'm just like, yeah, I don't really like hazards on my side of the field, or I'm in a situation where I want to get rid of them, so that's why that's there. And then Bug Bite is in case I need a little bit harder hit on something like Umbreon or Cradilly. I could go for Superpower, but Bug Bite also kind of covers, like, if Jirachi wants to switch in, maybe even, like, he would never switch in Megazam, but basically Bug Bite's just for a harder stab hit against his team. The speed is enough for 20 invested my low tick, and then just maxed out attack through the rest into HP and maximize my EVs. Here we have an Alolan Muck with an Assault Vest. Surprise, surprise, this is going to be my Mega Alakazam switch-in and counter, just basically just not have to worry about Mega Alakazam at all. Just eliminate that thing as a threat as quickly as possible, and that's what the Muck does, just being able to pursuit it, knock it out. Mega Alakazam can't do anything against me except for like a Miracle Eye set, which is the set that Jolt and I were laughing about when we were talking. And then Poison Jab with Poison Touch is just nice for spamming poison around his team, like maybe getting a poison off on like Terrakion or Lotic or Umbreon, just something like that. If I'm like, okay, well, Muck's done its job, I just kind of want to get a poison on something, Poison Jab plus Poison Touch does essentially make it a 50% chance for me to be able to get that. And then finally Brick Break, so that once I KO Mega Alakazam, Kyurem cannot come in and sub on me. Also, it gives me a harder hit to, like, just put Terrakion a little bit lower. I mean, Terrakion, as long as it's not Babiri, would be in range of Scizor anyway, but if it's like a Babiri Rock Polish set, then Muck will put it low enough to where Bullet Punch will KO it through that regardless. So that's kind of what I'm going with on Muck. The attack is to guaranteed 2-hit KO Alakazam with Pursuit, even if it stays in, that's invested to outspeed Greninja. That's what the attack is for. The defense is so a Choice-Banded Terrakion's close combat does not kill me from full, and then the rest into Spadef just so I can take hits as well as possible. Next up, we have my Scarfer, which is going to be Serena, and honestly, I really love this set in this matchup. This does so much work, like being able to outspeed quite a bit of his team, well, actually outspeed everything if I have a Scarf, and then hit things hard with Power Whip. It's able to high jump kick the Kyurem Black, knock off the Jirachi, Power Whip the Terrakion and my low tick. I mean, really, just this thing is very solid in this matchup, and then even a banded Terrakion can't hit it at all with Quick Attack because of Queenly Majesty. So just a very cool set for this matchup. The speed is enough to speed creep an Alakazam, speed creeping a Scarf Scizor, because I'm not necessarily thinking he'll expect Scarf Serena. I'm thinking that he'll expect like Scarf Scizor, if anything. So I don't think he'll try to speed creep a Scarf Serena, so that's why I ultimately decided to go with that speed creep, maxed out my attack, and then HP and defense. And finally, we have my Kyurem Beating Swampert. Honestly, at this point, I don't remember what the EVs are for anymore. Like, I made this set a long time ago, and it has served me well in every instance that I've been up against a Kyurem Black, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Protect is to burn the Z move, Roar is to prevent sub, and then Stealth Rocks are Stealth Rocks. So yeah, that is the team, and let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that he didn't bring the Mega Alakazam, the Kyurem Black, or the Togekiss even, so I'm just like, well, that's nice at the very least, but he did bring the Volbeat, so I'm thinking that, okay, there might be some Tail Pass shenanigans. Terrakion's there, which is unfortunate because, yeah, I don't really have a switch into Terrakion. I mean, his rocker has to be between Jirachi and Tarak, so I just had to figure out which one of those is which. Electrode is actually somewhat of a threat if I let certain mons get worn down, so I have to be somewhat cognizant of that, and then Milotic and Umbreon are both just kind of there, but he does not have a close combat switch-in is the main thing that I'm noticing of his team. If I have Rocks up, as a defensive Volbeat can potentially take that and then like Prankster Roost up, but we'll just have to see what happens there. But one thing I am noticing on my side is that Muck doesn't really have much of a purpose in this game. Like, I brought it for the Mega Zam, but it actually prevented him from bringing the Zam altogether, and I don't even have to worry about a special Kyurem because there is no Kyurem. Oh, and I forgot to mention, sorry that this is on Showdown for the second week in a row. Gonna try to get back to Wi-Fi, but Carnie's Jenner ditched him at the last second, so it was just kind of like, well, alright, screw it, let's just hop on Showdown for that. So, sorry guys, I'm definitely gonna try to be more on Wi-Fi moving forward, but just for these past 2 weeks, it was just, yeah, the situation, the circumstances just kind of came up to where we had to play on Showdown, so I apologize for that. But anyway, his team is very, very scary, but I'm not overly worried about that. Like I said, his rocker is either Terrakion or Jirachi. My Serena has a pretty solid matchup against both, so that is exactly what I am going to lead with, as he actually ends up leading with his Jirachi. Now, I'm not going to bother over-predicting. Maybe I can get rid of his lefties or something. I go for the knockoff, as he has a Colbur Berry. Definitely was for the Gallade, as he really doesn't have a switch-in otherwise. And he just goes for an Iron Head, so I'm like, ooh, that's pretty handy, all things considered. Like, the fact that he just went for Iron Head, not a Body Slam to try to parry me. I think he was just thinking that this would be like a defensive Serena as to counter the Terrakion, so he was trying to flinch me. But nope, none of that today. I do just knock off the Colbur Berry. It is now no longer a switch into Gallade. Gonna go into my Swampert here, as I really don't want Serena to take too much more damage, as I can just get up my rocks, as I don't even need Swampert for the Kyurem Black in this game either. So yeah, Swampert comes in, takes an Energy Ball from the Jirachi, and that is a 4-time super effective move that only did 57. Gonna protect to get some health back. Maybe I can protect enough later in the game to be out of range of another Energy Ball to where I can fire off a Scald, but not wanting my Swampert to get knocked out just yet. It is still very good. I can just go straight into Zapdos if he wants to try to Body Slam to paralyze me, or go for an Iron Head or something predicting a switch in. I can potentially get the Static, but he does just go for the Energy Ball as Zapdos' special defense falls. That's not really a huge deal, as I'm thinking that this Jirachi only has Energy Ball as coverage for the Swampert, and it's more of a physical one, as that damage did show. So yeah, Zapdos is in, the Jirachi is a little bit annoying. I'm just going to go straight for a Volt Switch. I don't need to Roost up, even though I definitely could, but I felt like he was definitely going to switch out there, so I just go for my Volt Switch, and he brings out the Umbreon. That means I get Scizor in, and I get Momentum, or I get a kill. So I'm just going to go for a Banded U-turn, knocks out this Umbreon, and yeah, Umbreon came in and just died. That is absolutely gorgeous for me. But I am going to go into my Mega Gallade at this point, just because, I mean, he has no switch-in really on his team, and I'm actually going to risk the potential Scald Burn. Going to go immediately for the knockoff, as I was thinking he was Flame Orb. Turned out to be Leftovers. I take the Scald. Luckily, do not get burnt, and this means I can just knock out the Milotic with a close combat, and immediately we are up 6-4. Gallade is a little bit low, but Milotic and Umbreon are both dead. He brings in his Volbeat, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'll go into Scizor. I still have priority on it, as he goes for Lunge, and that is super, super annoying. Like, yeah, that's definitely a very cool set, as all of my main hard hitters are physical. I mean, that is a Choice Banded Scizor's U-turn that did 26% to a Volbeat. But because I still have the Zapdos, Volbeat is low tier for a reason. I mean, Carnie brought a very, very cool Fizz Def set against me with Lunge, but that being said, it's still very specially weak. So just going to go into my Zapdos, Roost up while I have the opportunity, as he actually encores me into Roost. So very good play, but at the same time, like, it really doesn't do a whole lot for him, as I'm still able to scout out this Volbeat's moveset, and then I can always just bring Zapdos back in later when it will be at 75%. and be able to start spamming T-Bolt against his team. I'm going to go into my Muck, and even though he's lunging and this is doing nothing, I'm just fishing for the poison right here, as like I said in the team preview, Muck has done its job before the game even started by preventing Carnie from bringing Mega Zam. So finally, my fishing works. I'm able to get the Poison Jab, Poison on the second time, and now I'm just going to knock off the Volbeat. I will live a lunge like you see there, and I'm able to knock off its lefties, as this thing is actually proving to be very, very annoying. So with the Poison and Rocks Up and his lack of lefties, I should be good to go. I'm going to go into my Zapdos as he does reveal the Roost. So yeah, this is Lunge, Encore, Roost, and don't know that last move, but I'm not thinking it's something that can hit Zapdos. So I'm just going to go straight for a T-Bolt, try to get very good damage off on the Volbeat as he goes into Electrode. And now that Electrode's in, I'm going to sack off my Muck, thinking that he will bust his Z-move if he has it, because I'm thinking that like Terrakion is more than likely to be... Well, actually no, Terrakion can't be Z because Kyurem Z. I'm thinking that Electrode has the Z-move in this game, and if he was going to bust his Z-move, I thought it would be right there. Like, I thought he would immediately go for the Z Thunderbolt to try to get rid of my Zapdos, as that's the main thing standing between his Volbeat and potentially walling my team. So I sack off my Muck. He doesn't burn the Z, just goes immediately for Magnet Rise, as I was guessing he was gonna switch in like the Swampert, or guessing that I would switch in the Swampert or something like that. But yeah, I just sack off my Muck. Now I'm going to go into Serena, just fire off a power-up. I'm thinking that my speed creep will be sufficient to outspeed the Electrode, as I was thinking that he would try to go like modest for a little bit extra hitting power, and also just because all he had to outspeed was the Greninja, so I was relatively confident that Serena would outspeed. Jirachi comes in, takes 31% from power-up. I'm not risking the roll at this point. Like, Swampert's really done its job. I still want Serena late game for the Terrakion to be able to outspeed and knock it out with power up, and also like once Jirachi is a little bit lower, like if it ever switches out, I can just spam power whip and essentially get a kill, except for the Volbeat, but that thing is also without lefties and without, well, and poisoned, and rocks are up. So Swampert will go down to the Energy Ball. Swampert's done its job, but the Electrode is looking kind of scary. However, at this point, Gallade gets a kill. Gonna go for knockoff. If we went into Terrakion and it was Scarfed, well, then I outspeed it. After I knock off its Scarf, Volbeat would potentially be 2-hit KO'd, and it's poisoned, and rocks are up, like I said. Goes into Electrode. I figure that, okay, I might even just have to sack my Gallade off to the potential Z Thunderbolt. He does not go for it, and I am able to knock it out with a close combat, essentially just kind of clinching me the game at this point. So Volbeat's going to come in. I'm going to go for close combat. I'm going to go for two of them, as I think that he might try to just roost stall me out of close combats. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll close combat twice to kind of show him that, okay, Gallade is going to stay in and attack. If he wants to lunge, I will outspeed, and then that plus Bullet Punch should be able to knock it out. But now I'm going to save my Gallade. I have no reason to... I mean, like, I could just stay in close combat, but he has shown that he's just going to roost over and over until my Gallade dies. And I'm going to go into Zapdos, and because I'm at 50%, I could roost, but I'm thinking that, okay, he might try to pull a switch into Terrakion, which he does to take advantage of my roost. So I'm just going to Volt Switch, as Volt Switch into BP is going to kill something. So Scizor is able to come in, scare the Terrakion out, go for Bullet Punch, and now Volbeat has to repeatedly roost up, otherwise he will just die. Like, he can't lunge me because of the damage that I was able to get off on him. So my Scizor will be able to eventually stall out this Volbeat, or the Volbeat, not Volbeat, the Volbeat, to where I would be able to knock it out eventually, which I do. Even if I had just gotten insanely low roll after insanely low roll, I have more Bullet Punches than he has Roosts, so I would have been able to knock it out eventually, and then that leaves him with just Terrakion. Terrakion's Quick Attack does 12% to me, that does nothing, and Scizor is able to clean up the game with Bullet Punch. So we are able to take down Carnie, finally giving him his first loss of the season. And why the heck is my avatar still that and not the Shadow Triad? I'm getting sick of that. But anyway, we do move to, I believe, 5-1, give Carnie his first loss, like I just said. So yeah, we're in a position, if I win my next 2 weeks, then I have a chance to win the league. So really hoping that I'm able to do that. But hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.